Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to English Poetry at the Islamic University of Gaza, Palestine. We'll continue working on John Donne today. We have a new poem called The Flea. But before we go to The Flea, I want to emphasize certain things we already discussed or mentioned in passing about John Donne. So we saw this poem last time and we said this is a sonnet because it consists of basically 14 lines. The name of the poem is Death Be Not Proud, or Holy Sonnet 10. And as the title suggests, this indicates that it is a religious poem, a devotional poem, rather than a love poem. Now, I claim that this poem, this John Donne sonnet, contains some kind of parody, not direct parody like we saw in Come Live With Me and Be My Love and We Will Some New Pleasures Prove. But there should be an indication here. There should be something where John Donne is sending certain messages to sonneteers of his time, Shakespeare and others. We'll see how this shows up here. Now, some of you notice that the shape of the sonnet is not as regular as that of Shakespeare. Although it's not about how long or short. Sometimes the length of the line is deliberate because it indicates something that is elongated or something that is short. But what we care about in the sonnet is the number of syllables and the number of feet. And we've seen in how in Shakespeare he almost strictly uses 10 syllables, 5 feet in each line. And I want one of you, if you have time to kill, bring Shakespeare's sonnets and try to go through them and count the syllables in each and every line of them. Or at least you can divide the work among yourselves and see how many of the 2,300 lines in his sonnets do not have 10 syllables. Because you will be surprised. I think I haven't done the counting myself. I would suggest like 95% of the lines having 10 syllables, 5 feet. And this is very strict, again, following the rules of, and this is how the sonnet dictates or dictated at that time. You write sonnet, you need to stick to these rules. Despite the fact that Shakespeare himself was experimenting also. He expanded the theme, remember? He changed the form and he insisted on the couplet there. Some people might describe this sonnet as Petrarchan, or because this is similar to what we did with Sir Thomas Wyatt. But the thing is that of John Donne's 37, 40 sonnets do not have one particular form. Maybe we saw some of them last class. So he doesn't follow this order in the rhyme scheme and the structure. He changes. So I don't think this is Shakespearean. I also don't think this is Petrarchan. Number one, he totally changes the theme. And that in itself is a huge thing to do. Turning a love poem, the most famous, the most common love poem, into a religious poem. This is daring. And this is John Donne. This is experimental. And I usually say this. I want to see the look on the face of the person who was like looking around, you know, do you have any sonnet in town, any new sonnet in town? Somebody saying, yeah, there's this guy, John Donne, who wrote this new sonnet. Please, give it to me. I say, yeah, I know it by heart. And then, death be not proud. Like, whoa, wait a minute. What happened to the shall I compare thee to summer's day, to the sweetness and idealism and the cuteness and the fluffiness of the sonnet, the Shakespearean sonnet? Almost all gone. And that's John Donne. Totally different subject matter. And I like how even in the first line he declares his... But again, I don't want you to get me wrong here. John Donne did not write articles or books telling people that I want to change this and that. We deduce this from reading his poetry. The first thing I like about that is the way he opens the sonnet. Remember, the sonnet is traditionally an iambic pentameter. sonnet. Where, for example, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more ti-tum, ti-tum, ti-tum. That's that music. Where you begin with unstressed syllable followed with a stressed syllable. Unstressed, stressed, unstressed, stressed. Most of the syllables here. Iambic pentameter, exactly. Iambic, and iamb means a foot that is unstressed, then stressed. But here he does the very opposite. He stresses the first sound, the opening, the first syllable, and then unstresses the second one. That's like shouting. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. I don't know how you're going to read it, by the way. It depends. The tone is not definite. And many things, we've seen this in the bit with John Donne, the beautiful thing about John Donne. Again, some people think that John Donne is difficult, but I don't think this is difficult. If someone gives you 10 possibilities, 10 understandings, 10 interpretations, that makes him interesting, because it's up to you to pick whichever you find that fits you. So some people could read this as John Donne defying, challenging, and even undermining the authority of death. Some people could go far to take this as John Donne defying the authority of his time. Like death symbolizing the mainstream, I don't know, mainstream church, mainstream religious views, mainstream poetry rules, I don't know. But this could be taking it a little bit far. But still, it's valid. So John Donne defying death here, shouting at death in this particular way. And we said death is also a personification, an apostrophe. A personification where he talks to death as if it is not death, the grand leveler, the grim reaper, the country from whose burn no traveler returns, the frightening, the dreadful, the mighty. It's just, hey, death. And then what comes next is even worse. Be not proud. I know some call you mighty and dreadful. You are not. And then we see many things there. So in my understanding, this turning, I think the opening is John Donne turning upside down not only how we deal with death, how we should deal with death according to his religious views or belief, but also the way we deal with the sonnet as a whole. He's turning it upside down. Everybody is saying, shall I, sort of, but he's changing it. He's opening the sonnet shouting, something we describe as an abrupt or dramatic opening, a sudden opening, a feature of John Donne. Dramatization, dramatic openings, important features of John Donne. I also find something interesting in the same line. So remember there's one syllable, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Can you double check? 9 or 10? I'm not sure if some would say colid. I would find that disgusting, actually. So yeah, 10 syllables also. The opening line is missing something. And when he goes here, I think other lines would either be missing one syllable or having an extra syllable. This one, how many syllables do we have here? Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. Can you count? 10? 10?
The second one is
No, this one. Thou art slave. 11. Can you count, please? 12. Are you sure? Not 13? 9. 8. 8 syllables. What is a syllable? No. I didn't.
You said, can you come please?
I've come here. Okay, no worries. Come back. How many syllables are there? Noha, you came without me calling you, but it's okay.
Thou art slave 2, fate, chance, king, and death, bread, men.
Okay. How many?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
11. Somebody said 12. Can you come here, Noor? Do you want to?
Desperate, I think like it wouldn't be as flow as saying like desperate.
So, no, you're saying desperate, and Noor, you're saying desperate?
Right. No, it's desperate.
Desperate or desperate? That's true, that's possible. Now, the Oxford Dictionary says desperate. I'm sure other pronunciations would be valid. So whether this is 11 or 12, that's again John Donne pushing the boundaries not only of the sonnet, but also of poetry in general. Why would I stop? Again, you know how much I believe in Shakespeare. I think he's a genius, unmatched. Not in the way Donald Trump is. Like, again, imagine somebody writing 154 sonnets or so. And imagine the fact that almost all the lines contain 10 syllables. I think Shakespeare might have once in a while here or there, like he might have wanted to include a particular word, but it didn't fit the rhyme, didn't fit the meter, and he just discarded it and brought another one that fits. Which in a way limits the meaning. If you have to stop at 10 syllables, no, don't go any further, because you need to follow the rules, because you need to follow the number of syllables and the number of feet. That could be, in a way, even if you are Shakespeare, it could limit your feelings, experiences, emotions, or anything. Now with John Donne, assuming that this is 12 syllables, I think it wouldn't be difficult for John Donne to just drop 2 syllables. Yeah? Thou art slave to kings and desperate men. Look, it's beautiful. Thou just drop fate and chance, assuming that kings could be, like fate could be under kings or desperate men. But it seems that for John Donne, he wanted to count how many things, like many things, to which death is a slave. And he could go on and on and on. This is the idea. Okay? So this is alone, probably the longest line even in the number of syllables. So what I understand here is that John Donne is insisting on finishing his thought, finishing his idea, expressing himself, revealing whatever thought or idea or experience he's experiencing. Even if that breaks the rule. Even if that does not follow the traditional rules of decorum, of writing poetry or anything. So what I see here is that, again, a deliberate attempt from John to subvert the sonnet, to turn the sonnet upside down, to turn it on its head. Sending a message. Remember, the sonnet is the most sacred, the most, I want to say it again, the most sacred form of poetry, especially in Elizabethan England. It was the best, the most interesting, the most fascinating, dazzling form of poetry writing. It was rigid, remember, it was rigid, it was strict. Theme, love, rhyme scheme, mainly either, because there were many rhyme schemes, but mainly Shakespearean or Petrarchan. But this man is mixing both. I think this is a John Donne type of sonnet. A Donnian sonnet, if you want to. Theme, no longer love. I like how he begins the first 8 lines following Petrarch, and then shifting to something else and ending with a couplet, which is very typical of Shakespeare. We saw it in Whoso Lists to Hunt, Sir Thomas Wyatt. So is he saying that I don't want to be Shakespeare, but I can match Shakespeare, compete Shakespeare with the couplet. I like how you're going to find at least 2 imperfect rhymes in this sonnet. I think you would read 50 sonnets for Shakespeare when you get to find an imperfect rhyme. Because again, the sonnet is supposed to be this perfect and beautiful. But for John Donne, 1 sonnet, 2 imperfect rhymes. He doesn't care. This is part of what he wants to say. Interesting. Or not, if you don't want to see this as interesting. Okay, I just wanted to make this point out. Another point in another poem by John Donne. The poem is called Love's Diet. It's page 99, sorry, page 101. Love's Diet. Remember, the title could have been added to the poem by critics later on, not necessarily by John Donne. But again, the word diet is somewhere, give it a diet. It here referring to love. So Love's Diet, a very peculiar title, like the bait. We need to get used to John Donne with his titles. And somebody please read. Okay, this is a beautiful poem you need to read. Just in the meanwhile, in the time given, we're going to read stanza 1 and stanza 5, the last stanza and the first stanza. Because in many ways, English poetry, it's usually like the poem starts here somewhere, and then at the end shifts somewhere else. And following this journey from stanza 1 to the last stanza in the poem helps you understand the poem, where it started and why, and where it's going and why. This is very significant. Many people believe that if you want to understand a poem, see the first stanza, understand it carefully, look what it gives you, what it says, and how it says what it says, and then go to the last stanza and see how things ended up and what that indicates. So somebody read the first stanza, please. Stanza 1. Okay.
To what a cumbersome unwieldiness and burdenous corpulence my love had grown. But that I did to make it less, and keep it in proportion. Give it a diet, made it feed upon that which love worst endures discretion.
Okay. Someone, please. Can you speak up?
What cumbersome unwieldiness and burdenous corpulence my love had grown, but that I did to make it less, and keep it in preparation. Give it a diet, made it feed upon that which love first endures discretion.
Okay. Nice. Thank you. Somebody raised their hands and then they gave up. Don't lose hope. Yeah, one more. Somebody from there. Okay. No?
What cumbersome in unwildness at wildness, and burdenous turbulence my love had grown, but that I did to make it less, and keep it in preparation. Give it a diet, made it feed upon that which love worst endures discretion.
Okay, one more. One more. Please.
To what a cumbersome
Can you raise your voice?
To what a cumbersome unwieldiness and burdenous corpulence my love had grown, but that I did to make it less and keep it in proportion. Give it a diet, made it feed upon that which love worst endures discretion.
Okay. I want the same ladies who read stanza 1 to read stanza 5, the last stanza. Yeah, please.
Thus I reclaimed my buzzard love to fly, at what and when and how and where I choose. Now negligent of sport I lie, and now as other falconers use. I spring a mistress, swear, write, sigh, and weep, and the game killed or lost, go talk or sleep.
Thank you. Please. Speak up.
Thus I left my buzzard love to
Yes. So those who read again.
Thus I reclaim my buzzard love fly, at what and when and how and where I choose. Now negligent of sports I lie, and now as other falconers use, I spring a mistress swear, write, sigh, and weep. And the game killed or lost, go talk or sleep.
Okay, finally.
Thus I reclaimed my buzzard love to fly, at what and when and how and where I choose. Now negligent of sports I lie, and now as other falconers use, I spring a mistress, swear, write, sigh, and weep. And the game killed or lost, go talk or sleep.
Did you notice any difference? What's the difference between stanza 1 and stanza 2? Look at your book, page 101, quickly. Is there a difference? Can you notice? Again, from the way even your classmates here read. How did they read the first stanza and how did they read the last stanza? Was it the same? Totally not.
Can we turn these lights off? Because they're reflecting on the board.
It's in your book, 101.
I know, but
101. Okay.
The second stanza, I'm like,
Begin with the first stanza.
the first stanza, the last words in the first stanza are unrhymed.
The
last words,
unrhymed, totally unrhymed. What's the rhyme scheme in the first stanza? A, B, A. Leave her alone, please. D, C, someone else, quickly. A, do you agree? A, B, C, D, B, C, A, B, A. Someone? C, C, C. A, B, A, C, B, B, C. So you agree with your friend? Any other ideas, suggestions? Can you look at the whole poem? Quickly. Yeah? Because sometimes, you'll find confusing stanzas. You're not sure whether this is But when you go to the rest of the poem, they could guide you.
The rest of the poem are like A, B, C, C.
Okay. So what I feel is that this should be, like you said here, A, B, A, still B, C, and C. With at least 2 imperfect rhymes. A, B, A, B. So, but by the way, this is cumbersome, unwieldiness, burdenous, scopulous, which you struggle to pronounce, most of you. A, B, grown, it does. Unproportioned, imperfect rhyme. Yeah, I know. But this is grown. Oh, listen, but the fact that this could be A, B, C, C, or A, B, A, C, 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 or possibly A, B, you can't make sense out of this. I think this is part of the meaning here. I'll show you how this could fit.
I think the rhyme scheme moves more than like G.
Here, G, where's the G?
No, like not here in the whole poem. We have a lot of letters, a lot of
Remember, you begin a new stanza, go back to A. Go back to A. Every time you begin a new stanza, go back to A. That's the best way to do it. So A, B small, C small, two imperfect rhymes. If you want to insist that this is A, C, and then B, C, or C, I think it also makes sense because the sounds are, you can't make sense out of this. But look at the last stanza. Somebody, raise your hand, please. Can you see the rhyme scheme? The rhyme scheme, last stanza, please. A, B, A,
Use B small.
choose and use, same. Any doubt that this should be something else? Are you sure you choose and use rhyme perfectly? Yes. So this is difference number one. The first stanza does not rhyme smoothly, does not rhyme perfectly. We're not sure about the first stanza. We have three different opinions. But the last stanza, we all unanimously agree about the rhyme scheme. Next, quickly, please.
The language in the first stanza is more difficult. And
Thank you very much.
the words are.
I liked how I didn't want you to tell you beforehand last week or last night to read this text because I want to see how you come face to face with a poem with such huge, bulky, clumsy, and stupid words. Sorry to say this. Look at these words. Cumbersome, unwieldiness, burdenous, corpulence, proportion, and discretion. These are not poetic words in many ways, right? They shouldn't be in poetry. If we talk in classical, neoclassical terms and poetic diction, I don't think cumbersome and unwieldiness, 4 syllables, 3. It's not only the syllable. These are, I'm not sure if you know any of them, by the way. Maybe burdenous. These 4 clumsy, bulky, awkward, stupid words. Now, John Donne is including them in his poem. There could be a lot to take, even to pronounce. But then he shifts to very good, mostly monosyllables. Here we have multi-syllables. And here he ends something that, look at the second line. At what and when and how and where I choose. It's a perfect meter here. Probably reclaimed, buzzard, negligent, and falconers or mistress, and then all 1 syllable words. Simple words. Easier, you know? More fit. What is he saying in the first stanza? He's saying, I'm giving what a diet?
My love.
My love.
Yeah.
Because it has grown out of proportion. So if I want to draw, going back to my, best skill ever. I don't know. This is the man in the first stanza. And this is the man in the last stanza. I think I should go viral for this. So he's saying that because he's in love with this woman, because he, in a way, is totally dependent on what she does to him or what she doesn't do to him. How she keeps feeding him what? Letters, love, tears, tweets, subtweets, memes, messages, unseen. He has, gone out of proportion. Or be so huge that he can't control himself, that she controls him. And that's why he wants, of course, no offense to big people, he wants to give his love a diet. If you go to the next stanzas 2, 3, and 4, you will realize how he is declaring. This is like an academic essay. This is the opening paragraph with the thesis statement. And then each body paragraph has one idea. So look at the second stanza. He says, above one sigh a day, I allowed him not. So I'm allowing myself, my love, just one sigh a day. And that's it. No more. Because the more you sigh, the fatter, the bigger you get. And look at the third one. If he wrung, that's love. From me a tear, I brined it. Just one tear every day. One tiny tear. And then whatever he would dictate, I read that, but burnt her letters. So if I write letters, I'm going to burn them very quickly because I don't want to be, again, submissive to her, out of control, controlled by her. And then he moves to the last stanza, where he's now free. Fit, doesn't mean that fat people are not fit. Fit, cute, crunchy, munchy, whatever word you want to use. And this is reflected in the choice of words. What I want to say is, listen, John Donne is saying there is no word that is not poetic. There's no language that is not poetic. Especially if this word or these words or this language serves your purpose. He wants to say, I am bulky and clumsy and... So he's using these big, ugly, clumsy, bulky words to reflect this. When you struggle to read the first stanza, and that's the beauty of John Donne, he does this. Of course, some people will think that this is a turn off. If you look at this, oh, I don't want, what the hell is this poem? And that's why John Donne, you need sometimes to struggle to get to know John Donne and to like John Donne. Give him another chance and another chance. Don't listen to people who hate John Donne, the haters and losers. Sorry for saying this. Okay? Sorry for quoting Trump again. So what I'm saying is that the words cumbersome, unwieldiness, burdenous, scorpious, that would never be used in a poem by a neoclassical poet because they are unpoetic, are employed here by John Donne, recruited by John Donne expertly in one of the most beautiful and poetic. By the way, this is something that 20th century poets started following. Look at T.S. Eliot and The Waste Land. Many people couldn't understand what on earth the Waste Land was about in many ways because there were so many difficult things until he himself explained it to us. There's one last thing, one last difference between the two stanzas. If you look, it's always important to look at the speaker, the pronouns, the binaries, and the opposites. And one of the things you need to look at in any tense, in any sonnet, in any poem, in any stanza is the tenses. The tenses here, what's the tense in the first stanza? Quickly, please. Present simple. Where is the present simple, Noor? سيبوها. Feed. So feed, present simple, what else? Give, present simple, what else? Keep. طيب. لا make, ولا feed, ولا give are tenses here. They're not tensed verbs. I'm looking for finite verbs. This is infinitive. +2. Made, when you speak, you should know that. Let him go, allow him to go. Cause him to go, made him go. He made me go. The tense is made. And this is the bare infinitive after make. It's grammar. So, what about give? Is give a present simple tense? Nope. Thank you very much. Okay, everybody's saying Amal. There is hope. So I did give. But I like how he's saying I did give and how everything is getting, stuffed inside, and getting bigger and bigger and fatter and fatter. So, but I did give it a diet. I did to make it less and keep it, but also keep, and to keep it in proportion, give. There's so much inside that he wants to get out of control. The last stanza, the first line begins with the past simple tense, but then it's all I choose, right? I lie, falconers use, I spring, swear, write, sigh, weep. What about killed? Past simple? Killed, lost? Killed, lost, killed, lost. These are basically adjectives. The game which is killed, or, you know,
Which I
go or sleep. So he moves from the past simple tense. When his life was out of shape, he was out of shape, imperfect, after imperfect, difficult words, difficulties, tough things. And he moves to the last stanza to show us now that he controls himself, controls his love, doesn't allow someone else to control him. He's fine, he's fit, he's healthy, he's doing whatever he wants. Look at this beautiful at what and when and how and where I choose. And look at how this, I spring a mistress, swear, write, sigh, and weep. I do whatever I choose. I don't do whatever others tell me to do. Sorry? Exactly. There's more freedom in the last stanza. Also, there's perfection. Look at the perfect rhyme scheme, the simple words that are only mainly consisting of one syllables.
At that time.
Sorry?
It is like satiring the theme of love at that time. Like they thought that they can't give up love, and he here thought that he is giving up love.
I don't want to get into detail here, more detail, because this is the poem we want to do today. The Flea, let's move, by Donne. And again, if you don't know what a flea is and check your dictionary, you will be surprised. But hopefully by now you're used to Donne. The flea, you know the flea? Yes. The flea is that, tiny creature, the insect that sucks blood and gets stuff, not a samaka. This is a flea. So the first thing we do when somebody says a flea is just, it's disgusting. We don't want to be attached with fleas, or we don't want to have fleas jumping on our body, sucking blood. So I want to read the poem, not sonnet. I want to read the poem, and I want to, again, you to consider the question I posted online last night and answer this question so we can talk about it in more details. Mark, but this flea, look at also the opening. But again, it depends how you're going to read. Is it commanding, Mark, but this flea, or is he begging, but also beginning with a strong syllable in the beginning? But this is Donne. I think this is poem like what, number 7 for Donne to check. Always beginning with, this is dramatization, dramatic effect. He lived in the heyday of drama, the golden age of drama. He must have attended some of Shakespeare's plays. So mark, but this flea, and mark in this, how little that which thou deniest me is. It sucked me first, and now sucks thee. And in this flea our two bloods mingled be. Thou knowest that this can't be said, a sin, nor shame, nor loss of maidenhead. Yet this enjoys before it woo, and pampered swells with one blood made of two. And this, alas, is more than we would do. Oh, stay! 3 lives in one flea spare, where we almost, nay, more than married are. This flea is you and I, and this our marriage bed and marriage temple is. Though parents grudge, is someone throwing out here? This flea is you and I, and this our marriage bed and marriage temple is. Though parents grudge, and you were met, and cloistered in these living walls of jet, though you make you apt to kill me, let not to that self-murder added be, and sacrilege, 3 sins in killing, 3 cruel and sudden. Hast thou since purpled thy nail in blood of innocence? Wherein could this flea guilty be, except in that drop which it sucked from thee? Yet thou triumphst, and sayest that thou find'st not thyself, nor me the weaker now. 'Tis true. Then learn how false fears be. Just so much honor, when thou yields to me, will waste as this flea's death took life from thee. Now, this is one of the most famous poems of all times, probably one of John Donne's most famous poems. Crazy poem, a serious poem, a light-hearted poem. I don't know how you want to take it. Many people take this as, I like sometimes to take it as, again, as a parody, how he is writing anti-courtly love poetry, making fun of the lovers of that time who would go to this level of stupidity in order to lie, to fabricate, and to seduce the woman they are in love with. Now, clearly, I don't know how it begins. Usually, John Donne's poetry, again, like I said, seems to be like a small scene from a bigger play. Or it seems that we arrive mid-scene. There's always something before the poem. There's always something happening around the poem. And trying to imagine this helps us understand John Donne even better. So, Mark, but this flea. So I'm imagining somebody, a man, trying to seduce a woman, and probably she's rejecting him. Okay? Or I don't know how he's sending this. It's not clear in many ways. Is he talking to her face to face? Is he sending this as an SMS, costing him a lot of money? Indirect message, subtweeting it, posting on his wall post, spraying it, as graffiti in front of her door so she could read it, sending it with somebody, or face to face, possibly. So at this moment, Mark, but this flea, okay, wait, look at this flea. Notice this flea. There's a flea somewhere. And Mark in this, also the flea. How little that which thou deniest me. I want you to be mine, to belong to me. This flea sucked my blood first. And now it sucked me first, and now sucks thee. But instead of just, he's using this situation, this flea, to make a point. Look at the argument, how witty it is. And in this flea, now, look at this, our two bloods mingled be. Thou knowest that this can't be said a sin. This is not a sin, nor shame, nor loss of maidenhood. You've lost nothing. Yet this also the flea enjoys before it's sucking your blood, before it even wins your heart. I'm trying to win your heart, and you're rejecting me. And pampered swells, not only that, because this gets bigger and bigger, the flea. Look at this situation where he kind of is noticing the flea getting bigger because it's sucking the blood. Pampered swells. We mentioned swell before, swells. Also in John Donne, in Death Be Not Proud. Swell means to be proud, to brag, to get bigger because you're proud. With one blood made of two, and this, alas, is more than we could do. We should be together. And then I don't know what happens here. This is to your imagination. Oh, stay. This is the poet beginning. He's different. The tone is different here. Mark, but this flea to, oh, stay. What's happening? Is she leaving? Running away, like looking down upon him, Or is she moving to kill the flea? Like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's begging her here. Oh, stay, 3 lives in one flea spare. Save the lives of 3 people that now live inside. Where we almost, I love this, where we almost, nay, more than married. Are we married now? Khalas. Okay? The flea is you and I. And that's, again, the conceit here. How the flea is you and I. And this is not romantic at all. It's not idealistic. You wouldn't like somebody who says, you and I are this mosquito. Or, I don't know, a car hits you and hits her and say, okay, now we are one, same fate. Our marriage bed and marriage temple is, though parents, and I like this about John Donne, the speaker in the poem, though parents, her parents, probably his parents, grudge, they too are not happy with him. They don't like him. And he's admitting it. He's realistic. He's not, erasing all of this and just depicting the idealistic, perfect image of the shepherd, the green, the grasses, the trees, the birds, the singing, the water, the perfect utopia that we have seen in Marlowe. Though parents grudge, and you also grudge. I know you don't like me. Right? And we're met. So this is we are met, but for the sake of we're met. So John Donne sometimes tries not to add extra syllables when he wants. It's not difficult to do this. And cloistered in these living walls of jet, though use make you apt to kill me. I know you want to kill me. You hate me, you want to kill me. But look at this. Look at the argument, how he is trying to convince her not to kill him, not to do anything. Of course, metaphorically speaking here. I know you want to kill me. Let not to that self-murder added be, because now you and I have the same fate here. In the belly, I don't know if it has this, a belly, of the flea, if you kill me, you kill yourself. Because now we're destined to be together because of this stupid, disgusting. Not only self-murder, but also sacrilege. Sacrilege, blasphemy. Kufur yani. A religious term. 3 sins, you commit 3 sins in killing 3. In killing 3. How's she reacting? Again, does she say anything? Does she speak? Does she talk? Does she reply? Cruel and sudden. And I look at how, again, Mark, but this flea, oh, stay cruel and sudden. And the shifting argument, the zigzagging of the argument. Cruel and sudden. Again, talking to this woman. You're cruel, you're sudden. Of course she's not sudden. She's rejecting him. She's saying no. She's grudging about this. She wants to kill him. Why are you interpreting this as suddenness? Hast thou since purpled thy nail with nail in blood of it? She killed the flea, so now she's cruel and sudden. Wherein she killed it with her nails, yeah? Wherein could this flea be guilty be? Except in that drop which it sucked from thee, yet thou triumphst. The woman is triumphant, victorious. And says that thou findest not thyself nor me the weaker. Now look at how John Donne is going to twist the argument expertly. A John Donne trademark. Should be together because this flea sucked my blood and your blood. And tuta tuta, and that's it. You don't say no. Now, and he says, this is the temple, this is our temple. If you kill it, it's blasphemy. You go against religion and God and conventions and physics and biology and everything. And then she says, no, and she kills the flea. And look at how he's going to use this argument as, the very opposite of the first argument. Say, see, you killed the flea, nothing happened to us. We're going to lose nothing if we are together, exactly as we lost nothing when you killed the flea. So he said, finds that not thyself nor me the weaker now. Now that you killed the flea, remember at the beginning it was temple, sacrilege. It was killing 3 sins. Okay? But now that no one is weaker, nobody is dead, nobody is harmed or hurt, he's shifting the argument. 'Tis true then learn how false fears be. Just so much. You're not going to lose any honor. You're going to lose as much honor as you wasted with killing the flea. You lost nothing, no honor, no pain, nothing with killing the flea. So being together is going to be as easy as killing the flea. Okay, so it began with the flea being the most sacred thing, shouldn't be killed. When it was killed, he twisted the argument, say, being together is now as easy as killing the flea, as harmless as killing the flea. 'Tis true again, then learn how false fears be, just so much honor when thou yields to me. When you become mine, you're going to lose nothing, no honor, nothing. Will waste as this flea's death took life from thee. The flea took no life from you. I'm not going to take any honor from you. It's going to be as easy as killing this. Now, yes, there's an argument that this is a serious poem and John Donne is crazy, or I don't know. Many people accuse John Donne of being anti-feminist and even misogynistic. Not only somebody who is anti-women, but also somebody who hates women, misogynistic. But many people, I like to be one of those, argue that this poem is empowering women, is enabling women, is giving them the chance. Probably she does not talk. This is not a poem where the woman speaks back, but this is a poem where the woman acts, strikes, not only acts, she strikes back. A woman that is smart enough to see through this argument, this John Donne argument. So tell me something. What do you think? What do you think about the woman, again, mainly the woman in the poem?
Just I want to ask you that, can we consider it as a message to trust him, to trust men at that time, or not?
What do you mean?
Because at the last thing that you will not lose your honor and you will be fine if you are.
If you become mine, yeah.
So it's like a message to trust me and to trust men at that time.
But can you trust somebody who does this?
No.
Flee? A smart woman, a woman with this smartness can understand. Is he saying, is the message the opposite, saying, hey, women, look, men are all ridiculous as the speaker in this poem. And that's why even many female feminists would understand this as empowering to women, praising their smartness, their intelligence. Please.
I think the woman here is absolutely there in the poem, and she's explicitly the one who's dominant.
Okay, so number one, the woman is in the poem. She's not absent, she's not far away, she's not, maybe she doesn't speak because she's like disgusted. She's like, she doesn't even want to, he doesn't deserve her language here talking back. Unlike Marlowe, this is, by the way, at the ending we understand this is the same argument as in Marlowe in a sense, like, come live with me and be my love. We should be together and we'll have all the pleasures in the world. In a way, because when the ending says this, but in a totally different way. Everything about this poem is different. So you're saying the woman is present, she has a strong,
She doesn't need to talk to be present also.
okay,
She does the action. And
thank you very much. What are the actions?
She killing
Before that,
rejecting.
she's rejecting him. She's turning him down. She's also leaving him.
She wants to kill him.
She wants to kill him, thank you very much. She hates him. This is mentioned in the poem, but the most significant action in the poem is, so unlike Marlowe where the poem revolves around the man, the speaker, the male, the poem here is centered around the woman.
You can't blame her for killing him. He's pathetic.
Now, my question is it easy or difficult to see that he is pathetic?
It's easy, like to say something like that. It's just you're desperate. She doesn't want to.
Now, do you think John Donne is stupid enough to be this desperate, or is he making a point?
The persona is not John Donne.
Thank you very much.
If I read this poem in general and I didn't know that it's for John Donne, I would say that this is someone that cares about very trivial things. Or I don't know. I would say that yes, he is brilliant, but at the same time he's stupid. I don't know how. But as like we know that this is for John Donne, this makes it very obvious that he's making fun of poets at his time, because like this is the same, let's say, concept that all other poets use, but he used a different subject matter.
A very ridiculous, a very pathetic kind of argument.
Yes. So
And this is what makes me take this as a light-hearted parody rather than as a serious attempt from John Donne himself or even his persona to seriously try to seduce a woman using this argument, this thin argument here. More, please.
I think this poem is empowering women. Like
Yeah, I like this word. So there is this beautiful term to empower women, to give them what?
power, like,
Power and voice.
Superior. He said that he is the weaker side, not the superior for a woman. Like unlike in Marlowe's poem, he talked about the pleasures and for his own life.
his own pleasures. But here he is talking about her like she is the strongest side and she is the superior, not the inferior for him.
Okay. The woman is superior here. I like this.
I think now we're sorry for calling the corpulent poets as lions. Their images are much more impressive.
They're as fickle, as pathetic as the personas are. So again, this could be part of the parody here. Is he indicating that no matter how much this, like Marlowe or other love poets of that time, no matter how sophisticated they sound, they try to be, they will look, eventually to women, they will look as pathetic as the persona, the speaker in this poem, even if you do whatever you want to do. More, please.
I don't think it is empowering for women because in the last stanza, he seems to be like manipulating her. He says that we are one because we have our bloods are together. And then when she kills in the plea, he says, "No, I'm not the weaker."
Okay.
He denies.
The thing is that this is an open-ended poem. We don't know what happened next. And I want somebody to dramatize this. Like, look at this. A woman rejecting a man, and then he's saying, okay, wait a minute. Now you will say yes to me. This flea. And it's like, what? And like, she wants to kill the flea. It's like, just wait a minute. Just hear me. She kind of hears him. And then she kills the flea. And it's clear that she's grudging, she's threatening, something like this. I don't think the woman is going to be convinced at the end. But again, it's up to you. If you feel that at the end of the poem, the woman is being manipulated, that she's going to be convinced by the poet, I don't see evidence. Do you see textual evidence in the poem to indicate that the woman is going to be won by the man?
I find the second argument more pathetic than the first.
It is, yeah. It is. He lost the war. She is the word, I like this word. She is victorious. She triumphed. She won the argument. And he admits this. And I like this realistic thing about John Donne. And this is why I think he is empowering women. Because he's admitting that he's saying, I don't lie, you parents hate me. And I don't lie, you hate me. And I don't lie, even the flea hates me. And I don't lie like, so. Please.
I see some similarities between this and Useless to Her.
Okay.
In both poems, we have a woman who does not love a man and says to him,
Interesting,
"No, I
yeah.
don't want you." And at the last stanzas in both poems, we have the man directing the woman by saying, in this, he said to her, "You are cruel and sudden," and in Useless to Her, he says to her, "You are wild and tame."
I like this
So
connection.
it's
Yeah.
not about empowering women.
But again, it's up to you. But think about this when you go home. Like, whose woman is more active? Takes more action?
Then she has a chain around her neck.
There is by somebody else. He's somebody's else. She belongs to Caesar. He or she belongs to no, but there's no indication.
Sir Thomas White's the persona is rather oppressive. He's not like he's oppressive. He's degrading her. But here we find that he's pathetically begging her.
Okay, but also at the listen. If you want to say that the argument is intellectual in a sense, and how he twists the argument, it also shows that he is talking to an equal, somebody who is as smart as, anybody, any man, any smart man, in order to understand this. Now, before we finish, I want to highlight some crazy things by John Donne. The poem consists of 3 stanzas. 3 stanzas. Each stanza consists of 9 lines. That's 3 by 3, right? صحيح الحساب. And each stanza, if you look at the book, it doesn't show here. If you look at your book, your text, page 103, each stanza, the last 3 lines in each stanza rhyme perfectly. Woo, to, do, me, be, 3, be, me, thee. This could be a triplet, like a couplet. 3 lines. The word three is mentioned in the poem 3 times. 3 threes. The word flee is mentioned 6 times. That's 3 for you, 3 for me. 3 rhyming couplets. No, ماشي 3 rhyming couplets, but I take them as the triplets, the three lines at the end. If you notice, the man uses religious discourse, religious terminology. 3, like what? 3 sins, 3 sins, sacrilege, temple. Is he indicating, I'm leaving this question to you, is he indicating that religious people are abusing their authority, their religion in order to do stuff sometimes? This is a love poem where the man is employing religious terminology and religious discourse. In Christianity, Trinity is key. God, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So there is this idea of Trinity, everything 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I'm sure you'll find crazy people interpreting this, not crazy, interpreting this as a religious poem.
Actually, it's like a couplet, and then a triplet.
Where's that?
This is E, B, C, head.
What's this is?
Said head, woo, to, do. The
Say
rest
again.
came.
Okay.
Couplet, triplet.
Yeah. You'll find many things pairing to make the idea of threeness, of Trinity. It is a religious concept. He's saying that you, I, and the flea are one, like Trinity, which is a religious concept itself. I'll stop here. I want you to look at this slide here. The questions, what are the features? What is a conceit? Please try to find the conceit. Now, do you agree that with Dryden that John Donne perplexes women and confuses women? Or do you agree with Virginia Woolf that John Donne empowers women? If you have time before the midterms, could you write a parody reply to this? What would the woman be saying if she is saying rather than acting? Thank you very much. If you have a question, please stay behind.